Darren Mullings, a few days before the season starts. Darren, thank you for your time this evening. First of all, this is your second season as a manager. What did you learn in the last close season, your first, when you've managed, and what have you managed to implement this time round, and how's it different to last summer?
Yeah, we learned a lot in the off season. I think you learn not everything goes to plan, for sure. But look, a lot of planning goes into the off season. It doesn't really stop. As soon as the season finishes, you're already planning for the next year, and the off season is a really important part of probably how your season will look. Whether that's looking at players coming in or planning for the schedule for pre-season. So yeah, this year was slightly different. The timings were slightly different. Obviously, last year's success, I felt we needed to enjoy that and have a bit of time away, and then we start fresh. We had a lot more training at the start of pre-season this year, instead of going straight into the games. And then obviously we've had a few games cancelled for a number of reasons this year. So it's kind of played around with our schedule a little bit, but like I said, it's allowed us to get on the training pitch to spend more time together, working through a lot of things that we needed to. We've brought a lot of players in this year, so it's been valuable. It's all doesn't matter what the results are. It's all about preparation for the first game of the season.
As you say, you brought a few players in. Are you happy with the squad now?
Yeah, really happy. Look, we identified quite a few players last year. Probably from January onwards, we were looking at a lot of players, and we planned to go up, and we managed to do it. So that made getting those players in what we promised them we were going to do. It made the conversations a lot easier, being at step 3. And yeah, look, I'm really happy with the squad. We've got players that have come in, and they're going to have to find their feet. What we're asking them to do is different for some of them. The way we play and the information we're giving them. So it takes a little bit of time for them to embed, but I'm sure they will. We know them well as characters and people and players, and I'm sure that they'll have a really big impact on the squad. And yeah, look, we just got to see what happens in the first few weeks of the season, and if we need to add or adapt the squad, then we will do so. But like I said, I'm really happy with where we're at the moment.
Last season, the team probably had the majority of possession in most games. This season may well be different from last season, when the opposition may have more of the ball. How have you prepared the squad for this scenario, as matches are won not only by what you do with the ball, but what you do without it?
Yeah, our principles won't change. The way we played last year will be very similar. Of course, we have to adapt, and depending on the situation in the game and the opponent, of course. But we're a possession-based football team, and that's what we'll plan to do. This league will throw up different challenges. It's a very physical league. There's some fantastic players in this league, and coaches as well, and managers. So tactically you have to be really aware, and especially out of possession, you need to have a really good structure. So it's all things we've been working on. And areas we want to improve on last year, and I feel we've started to do that in the off season, and hopefully it all comes together.
Footballers have to solve problems on the pitch during a game. How do you see this amongst your squad?
Yeah, there's a lot of problems to solve it in a game of football. But we try to prepare them as best we can in terms of what we want to do in and out of possession, and what the opponents are going to do in and out of possession. But at the end of the day, that's what football's about. It's about decision making. Whether that's in our defensive areas or the final third of the pitch, it's all about making good decisions, and the more good decisions you make in a football game, usually the more success you get. So look, we've got plenty of experience in this team. Got some players that have been leaders at other clubs and captains, and they really help those younger boys, and then the younger boys play with a lot of freedom and creativity as well. So yeah, I think that football's about making good decisions, like I said. So I trust the players that we put on the football pitch, and the plan that we have, and I trust them to make those decisions.
Nothing comes straight away. Your squad will be a work in progress. Things evolve over time. How are they gelling together, and do you feel you have got the right blend of experience and youth?
It's gelling really well, to be honest with you. They're a great bunch of lads, and I don't think anyone could walk into that dressing room, especially after what we did last year, and not be that. But, we look at players when we're signing them, not just on their footballing ability, it's about the characteristics as well, and what they're like as a person, and would they fit into our group. And the lads we brought in have just done so. But you build them bonds on the pitch. You can do everything you can off the pitch, and whether that's team bonding sessions, training, etc. But you build those real connections on match day when you're grinding out results and winning games of football. And learning together and developing. So, yeah, I think we've got a really good group, and yeah, I've no doubt they'll gel together.
Pre-season is a hard time for managers as they build the squad for the coming season. But have you managed to take a break and have some downtime?
I won't say I've had too much of a break, but I think any manager would be the same. Of course you do. Look, you have time away from it and time to reflect on what's happened the previous year and your objectives for this season. But if you want to do things properly, you put everything into it, and it can take over at times, of course. But look, we love football, and we want Yates to be successful again. We worked extremely hard last year to get ourselves in this position, and we're going to do everything we can to ensure that we stay in this position and continue to progress as a football club, both on and off the pitch. And we brought some extra additional members of staff in as well, which I think will strengthen our team, and that helps with the workload of things as well. So I'm really happy with where we are, and we'll just continue to work hard.
And what are your early objectives for the season?
To win games of football is as simple as that. That never changes. That was our objectives last year, to win as many games of football as possible, and it will be the same this year. And look, of course, like I said earlier on, it's going to be lots of different challenges that we'll have to overcome this season. But I think any football team that steps onto a football pitch they're going to do their best to try and get 3 points. And if you can't get 3 points, then sometimes you have to take a point. But we'll learn from every game, every scenario, and that's our objective, is just to win as many games as football. Of course, we want to make sure we secure our status in this league at least next season. And we've got a lot of ambition in the club. Ambitious players and coaching staff, and we want to push as high up the league as we can.
You've already used the loan market for players coming in the last few weeks. Do you see that as a very, very valuable thing during the season?
Yeah, look, of course it is. You have to be very aware of where you are at the start of the season, what you might be looking for, whether that's currently on the market, whether it's injuries that you've got, which we've had a couple over pre-season. We've built some fantastic relationships with the professional clubs locally, Bristol Rovers, Bristol City, and the other professional clubs in the southwest. So it's important, we go to watch these players, and we want to help them develop as well, and they can help us, bring their attributes. So yeah, the loan market's really important, but of course you want to try and build a squad where you've got a bit of cohesion, and players are here for the season. I'm going to be part of it from start to finish. So that might be the loans that come in and do that, or it might be that we have to look and sign other players when the time's right.
With a few days to go, have you got your starting 11 sorted in your head yet?
Yeah, look, a lot of things can happen between now and the start of the season. But you have some idea of what it may look like. Obviously, we still do our homework on the opposition, and that might have some impact on what we look like. But we have a clear idea of how we want to go about the games, how what our team should look like on the pitch, and like I said, we have to consider some of the minutes missed in pre-season due to injury and illness, players being away as well. So there's still a lot to think about. We still got a couple of training sessions in between to make sure we're right, and then look, we'll pick the team that we feel is best to go and win on opening day.
Well, thank you for your time, and I'd like to wish you and the squad all the very best for next season.
Thank you very much. Cheers, Bob.